Hello, you guys, and welcome to SoulTopia Sensations Magic of Transmutation with Herbs. This is Michelle Welch, owner of SoulTopia, and today I'm going to be combining a little bit about herbs and my new book called The Magic of Connection. And so my book will come out in January, and it's already available for pre-sale and pre-order, and many of you already have done that, and I really appreciate that. You can order it on Amazon and at Barnes & Noble, and of course through SoulTopia. But in my book, and actually it's in chapter, let's see, I believe it's in chapter 14. In chapter 14 of my book, I talk about herbs, incense, and essential oils for transmutation in our life. And just to give you a little bit of a background about my book, The Magic of Connection. It's The Magic of Connection, and the subtitle is Stop Cutting Cords. And that's stop, because I don't believe in cutting cords, and that is to stop negativity in your life and transform your life to live a more empowered life. Okay, so that's pretty much the subtitle of my book. To be more exact, it's Stop Cutting Cords and Learn to Transform Negative Energy to Live an Empowered Life. We are really going to talk about transmuting energy. And here's the thing about our lives, especially now. The biggest thing I talk about is the fact that too many of us are wanting to cut off everyone else. We have almost given license to hatred. And I am going to be an advocate now, hopefully for the rest of my life, that this is not what we're going to do. Now, that does not mean I won't stand up for myself and stand up for my business and stand up for my family. I will do that. Make no mistake. But, and I expect you to do the same in your life, to stand up for what you believe in. But does that mean I hate people and I want to always cut them out of my life? You cannot do that. Okay? And I'm here to tell you, and I know that you know it, that the more you try to cut something out of your life, the more energy you give to it. Why? Because we are all one. And everything is energy, and all of that energy is connected, and everything is one energy. And I walk through this in my book. And so those of us who've been labeled as traditional empaths, I believe we are all empaths. Okay? So, and I talk about that in my book. But those of us who've been labeled and are happy to be given a label because we feel we're so uber sensitive, and we're given a label as empaths. We thought we'd finally arrived at something that helped us understand who we were, right? We thought, well, I understand why people tell me I'm too sensitive. I understand why maybe I feel energy more acutely than others, or I get my feelings hurt maybe more than others. Maybe, and no one understands me. Well, I hear that all the time, and it is common. It's more common than you think. We all absorb energy, all of us. Okay? It's just that some of us feel it more acutely than others. And inherent in being an empath, and even in the word empathy, does not always have the connotation of compassion. It's just that some of us are more compassionate than others. And some of us are more compassionate in different areas than others. So everyone can be an empath, and everyone is an empath. It's just that some feel into the energy of people's fear. Okay? So that's not what my talk is about today. But I thought I would have psychologists disagree with me, and they didn't. They were like, oh, no, that's right. And so, and psychiatrists, no, that's right. We are but what I call traditional empaths, those of us who've taken all the quizzes that say, I can't do this and I can't do that. Well, I'm here to tell us we can. We can. So do we need our traditional forms of protection that I sell in my store? The reason we have so many wonderful things such as herbs and crystals in our store to protect us from energies that maybe we deem unfavorable in our lives. Yes, we do. That moves us from being what I call an untrained empath, and there's nothing wrong with that. Many of us are because we don't understand what it's like. We didn't even know we were empaths. Okay, for an untrained empath who we're absorbing every energy that comes at us, because we all absorb energy, and we just take it all on, and we feel it. We maybe get sick or chronic fatigue because of it, right? So we take all of that energy on, and we're untrained in how to do with it. And then we move into an empath in training, which we're going to use some of the products here today, the herbs, to help us with protection. But where I want us to move, that none of the books, zero of the books that I ever read about being an empath, which we all are, and especially the traditional empaths who feel it most acutely, all of the energy around us, and any of us who want to work on what I call our cords of connection, like these lights that connect us to everyone and everything that I don't believe we can ever cut. And we want to heal those instead of cutting everybody out of our lives. We're going to be left with no one. The whole world is. The whole world's just going to implode, and we all are going to have an apocalyptic, great explosion adventure if that's what we want. Because we're all just going to hate each other, right? We can change that. And I believe the traditional empaths are here to do that and to be the superheroes that are here to do that. And some people think, well, that's too much to put on the empaths. Oh, they can't handle it. Oh, yes, we can. Yes, we can, because we are going to be empowered, truly empowered, which is what the magic of connection is. We are going to learn to truly transmute energy. Now, how do we do that with herbs? Herbs are going to be one of the tools we use. We have sidekicks as superheroes, and we have tools in our arsenal, right? Tools that we use. We have sidekicks like gods and goddesses and angels and archangels. Like every Batman has a Robin. We are the badass superheroes. Our guides are our sidekicks. We are the superheroes, okay? So then we have our tools that help us transmute energy. Now, what transmute energy is, through cords, where we're healing cords of connection, is we are sending the energy of that being, that herb, through that cord. We are visualizing that going through. We can light the energy of the incense or the herb. And even if we're allergic to it, we can imagine using it. You know, for those who are like, oh, I can't light that incense, we can use it even, as Erica talked about, I believe, in an oil. I think she talked about that. We can use incense, we can use herbs, and this is one of the tools we can use to, because scent, for one thing, is our most powerful way to deal with things with memory, and that's a proven fact. And it can heal and go work through those cords to help us heal those cords of connection instead of cutting them off. Okay? Now, in the book, I deal with the fact that, does that mean that all of a sudden, what if you're healing a cord of connection with a trauma you had that was very deep, which I have had? Does that mean that you're then going to be hanging out with that trauma, that person or that thing or that place, that church maybe, that gave you trauma? No, but you're going to heal that cord, because guess what? You're still connected. So let's get to the herbs. Read the book to see if you want some answers from the things that maybe I raised that you may agree or not agree with. But I will tell you, when you get to the transmutation, which is changing the form of energy, because energy never goes away, it only changes form, and we can do it. Okay? That's magic. That's alchemy. A lot of people talk about magic these days, yet they say they can't all the time. I can't. I'm an empath. I can't do that. Oh, I'm too sensitive. I'm an empath. No, you're not. You're the strong ones. We're the strong ones. We're the superheroes. That's why we're here. And don't let anybody tell you, oh no, that's putting too much on you. No, it's not. We are strong. It is our purpose to heal this hurting world. It is. It is. You have a purpose. And I see the empaths now, not as the I can'ts and oh, that energy hurts me so much. Oh, I just can't do that. And I'm not making fun of it because I was the same way. Oh, I just can't. I see it as I choose to do this. I choose to heal wounds that are dividing this world because it's time. Okay, so what are the herbs? So I'm just doing a few from the book, and I will keep it to my time. So, but you had to have a little bit of background of what I mean by the transmutation. It is different than simply transforming. Transforming is the first step. When you transform, you change the nature of something, but you almost are just dressing it up in a different form. When you transmute, you're literally changing it. Okay? And remember, when we use the products as our first one, or our sidekick or our tool, such as sage, when you sage, if you sage something and shoo it out of your cord, or let's say even out of your house to clear out of an energy, it just goes outside of your house. It's still there. You haven't changed the form of it. So it's just hanging outside your front door. Have you ever thought of that? Okay, so you want to transmute it. You want to change the form of the energy. And then once you do, you can actually inhale that energy because it's the energy you want. So if somebody throws shade at you, you're not an energy vampire. If you transmute the energy they're sending to you, you're a transmutation vampire. Okay? So if they're just being ugly, transmute the energy and the cord that connects us all, because we all are energetically connected by these ethereal cords, and just say, okay, send that shade at me. That's fine. I'm going to send you love, but if you keep sending that at me, I'm going to change the form of that energy into positivity and love for me. Thank you for sending that energy my way. You're not draining them of their energy at all, because guess what? They threw it at you. That's not being a quote-unquote energy vampire. Okay, talk about that in the book too, because it's a little bit controversial, right? Okay, so sage. What do you do with sage? Traditionally, we use sage, and I'm talking about transmutation here, okay? It's a little bit different. So how to use herbs, sage, to transmute energy. White sage, I believe for our core, what we're going to do to send that through, if you want to light that sage, that is going to be, and I'm just going to go straight out of my book, okay? So for the white sage, they're very simple. This is a traditional sacred herb, and you want to make sure all of these are ethically sourced, okay? Just say that straight up. And know that many of the people who use these herbs, they don't, when you talk to them, actually go straight to them. They want us, as long as we're saying, look, this comes from much rich history of Native Americans, but also many indigenous cultures. They want us to use, because they, the ones I talk to, are not upset at all that we use sage. It just would be like if I believe in transmutation. That's my belief. It actually is originating in large part with me and many alchemists. Does that mean that of course, I want to share it with you? So most of the people, the Native Americans that I know that have even talked to some of their tribal leaders or their chiefs, they want to share that. So, okay, just make sure it's ethically sourced and you're honoring what you're doing. So I'm surrounded by all these great things we have here. And so sacred white sage that is ethically sourced. How are we going to send that through our cords of connection? The main way you're going to do it, because of its rich history, you're going to use that for ancestral cords and family members. Okay? So if there's something in your ancestry that goes way back that you need to heal, that you have a cord of connection with, so you're connected somehow with something that has hurt you in your ancestry or a family member, you're going to use white sage to, you can light that, or you can imagine that going through from you, wherever you feel it in your body, and it's a whole different thing I have to teach you about through my book, but wherever you feel it going to the source of that, wherever that cord is, and wherever it's connected, and you just imagine the sacred white sage going through the cord, and that smoke just going through and back and forth to heal that cord and to clear out any mucky, yucky stuff, because cords can visually, for those of us who see them, and you can start visualizing them, can look really icky, they can smell icky, they can be really dull, they can actually hurt us. Okay, and so you just want to send that herb through for that family healing, any family healing or ancestral healing that needs to take place. And I'll show you what a sage stick looks like. We go through these and sell these so quickly. We just got these in yesterday, and this is one that we have here, okay? And we know the people we get them from, and they are wonderful people, and it's a family that is supported by this, and they are ethically sourced, so don't even. Okay, so, or I will respond to you. And so then we have black sage. Black sage is mugwort. So this was full yesterday. And we just have to keep filling up because the jars are kind of small. Mugwort is known as kind of great for psychic development, but for our cords, okay, it's darker and it smells pretty strong, okay? It's also known for doing kind of exorcism sort of work and stuff. But for our cord healing, this always hurts me a little bit. For our cord healing, from my book, what I say is you want to use this for thick, heavy energy in cords. So honestly, this is stuff that's really difficult work. Difficult, hard feelings, things you don't necessarily want to work on. Somebody or something. A cord can be literally to an institution. It can be to anything. It can be to an animal. It can be to a tree. It can be to anything. Okay? It can be to an organization that hurt you. It can be to an organization you love. It can be to a different planet. It can be to anything. But this is thick and heavy energy. The cord is almost like so sludgy, nothing can get through it. And it feels like a thick, almost like a rope, this cord. And so you're going to use the mugwort smoke to weave its way through. This is a lot of fear is associated with this cord, rage, anger. Okay, so a lot of if you have just rage over something that someone or a group of people have done, mugwort to send through that cord is going to be perfect. Okay, it's not to hurt them, it is to send through the cord to start healing. and to start having understanding flowing through the cord. It does not mean you have to all of a sudden start being best friends with them. That is not the point. Okay? Then we have, okay, I'm going to have to keep this one short because I love talking about cedar wood. Now, cedar wood is not technically an herb, right? So, cedar wood is wood. It can be a resin, the resin from the wood, but really it's wood, okay? So, we have a couple, and this one clearly needs to be refilled because it sells so quickly. It's got this really woody kind of smell, cedar wood, because it's wood, duh. But it smells like cedar, right? So cedar wood was used by King Solomon. Now, King Solomon is the ultimate alchemist, right? So Solomon, everything he built, and Carlton, who works here, is a master alchemist, and we are all going to be. You don't have to go through direct magical orientations to have the magical of connection. Transmutation is alchemy. It is magic, okay? And we can all do it. So my book just puts it in layman's terms. It's that simple. It's hard, but it's simple, okay? Believe me, it's hard. Okay, so it's hard to practice because the minute you say, I'm just going to transmute that energy, boy, then somebody does something to you and you're like, oh boy, that's harder than I thought. But for Cedarwood, I love it because he built the temple for Israel, right? The temple of Israel, and he built it, and everything he did was magical. Everything, every cornerstone, every single thing was thought out and magically done, and he used cedar wood. So cedar wood is great for, he's the master magician, and he is the master alchemist and the master, I made up a word, transmuter. In my book, he's the master transmuter. So, and he used it to build the temple. The Egyptians also used cedar wood for embalming, just as a side note, okay? So, for these reasons, it's suitable for every kind of transmutation. It's particularly useful, I say in my book, for clearing your mind of clutter so that you can connect to your higher self and determine what kind of energy is needed to go through the cord. What do you need to send through the cord? So this will help you clear your mind of all the clutter you have so you can get to that state of transmutation. It is highly spiritual and will send divine love and light through the cord. People will make fun of, oh, light and love, and I did too, because it got overused. Oh, I'm sending you light and love. But there really is divine light and love. And this will connect you to that. And it will send it through the cord when you can't. And you can, you just don't feel like it because you're like, no, I can't stand that person. Okay? So another situation in which to use the cedar wood may involve a cord between ourselves and a spiritual leader who's hurt us, or a place of worship, even a cult, or even an entire religion that maybe has, that we need to heal, do some healing with. Okay, so that's what cedar would be great for transmutation, for that. All right, so what else do I have here? This is the loose sage, I believe, just to show y'all. Loose sage, and you get all this in incense too, and in like oils also, essential oils. We have all that at SoulTopia. And I think I was just going to show you one more, and that was the dragon's blood sage. Now, the dragon's blood is just a regular sage with some resin around it. And so we have that here at SoulTopia, and it smells pretty strong, and people love it. They come in back for it all the time. It has that dragon energy. It's just a stronger energy. We have all kinds of sage. People, let me just tell you something. Everybody who thinks, oh, I have to have white sage, you guys need to, I would highly encourage, you don't need to, I would invite you and encourage you to start realizing there are all kinds of things to work with. It's not just the white sage, okay? There's all kinds of herbs that do all kinds of things. The white sage is kind of the beginning point, to be honest with you. Okay, so the dragon's blood, what I think that the resin of the dragon's blood, what it is best to send through the cord it's just going to slow down the turmoil and the chaos that's in our minds, that therefore is in the cord, regarding any kind of situation. So anything that's going on. So it's more situational cording. Okay, so we can be corded to a situation. So it's a situations typically involve people, but it might involve like a job. This situation is going on at work. So that may vicariously involve people, but it also is just a whole entire situation. Uh, and it also calms any turbulence and inflamed emotions that are flowing through the cord. So again, I pulled a lot of the herbs that are just going to calm us down. It also will send through the cord, and usually this cord work has to do with us. Okay, so I'm a big believer, and I don't mess with other people's free will. I don't. And so, do I think you can? Yeah, I think you can. I just don't think you should. I don't. I don't want to. Okay, just put it that way. So when I'm sending stuff through the cord, people may ask me, so what? What happens? Do they have to receive it? No, but your work is with you. Okay, so that's how you're transmuting the energy. You're transmuting what you're doing. Okay, because it's very difficult for when you're flooding light in a cord that is dark and murky and thick, or a chain, even is like a chain around your neck, it's choking you. It's very difficult when you start to send love to that, for it to not just to start falling away, no matter what the other end of the cord is doing. Okay, they may still have that chain around them, and we may or may not even know the source of where some stuff is coming from. It doesn't matter. We're working on ourselves. And so we can use herbs to help us. Herbs aren't always to drive away bad energy. Okay? The energy never ever goes away. That's a law of conservationism. Okay? It's a law of the universe. It's also called thermodynamics. Energy, there's a set amount of energy, and it never ever will go away. It will just change forms. So these herbs will help us change and transmute the energy in our lives. So that's what I had to share with you today. I just wanted to tell you quickly, and I was going to put a little slide in here, but I'm not. So there may be a little reflection on see. This is my book. It's called, I'm angling it because I've got my curtains open over there, or my blinds. It's called The Magic of Connection. There you go. And you can get by Michelle Welch. And it is available. And I believe it will change lives. And I'm not kidding. It has changed mine. It continues to change mine. And the people who read it, I believe, agree. The foreword is by the one and only Benabel Wynn. Excuse me. She is a friend and a peer. She is a lawyer. She's one of the most brilliant people I know. She's a lawyer, patent and trademark lawyer, and licensed in both California and New York. And she's brilliant and kind, and just amazing. And she wrote the foreword, and it alone is worth getting the book because she's just an amazing writer. So thank you for your time, and thank you for supporting SoulTopia and SoulTopia Sensation. I hope you're having a good day, and I want to say that we're also now on the first Sunday of the month doing our SoulTopia Psychic Fair. And this will be our Psychic Fair will be different a little bit than our SoulTopia Sensation, and will be being expanded. And I want you to know that we are going to be auditioning very, very select vendors in the community. very select vendors. We already are very, very select in our readers, but we probably will need some more readers, but we will be very, very select in those readers and or auditioning. That's not interviewing those soon. Uh, my my two of my kids have been in acting, so I said auditioning. Interviewing those kids, interviewing you soon, and also for very select artisans and vendors for that psychic fair. The first Sunday of the month, we already are doing it, but it will be expanded, and we will be expanding soon our location here at Carrollton to accommodate a much larger psychic fair. Okay, but for now, the first Sunday of the month, we also have the SoulTopia Psychic Fair. And if you are interested in vending, being a very select vendor, reader, or healer for that, you can get in touch with us. But again, it's going to be it's not just, we are doing quantity over quality over quantity always. Anyway, thank you so much, and we will talk to you later. It's so nice to see you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your SoulTopia sensation. Bye bye.